Hey guys, and welcome to HoN Channel's introductory guide to agility heroes on the Legion side. I've broken this down into agility, intelligence, and strength just for ease, and then Legion and Hellborn just because I don't want the videos to be too long. So here we have all of the agility Legion heroes in the game. Now, agility heroes are generally heroes that are a bit more carry orientated, a bit more damage deal orientated, but there's a fair few utility heroes in there, and as well as a couple of supports. And just to show that variation off, the first hero we're going to have a look at is Andromeda. We're going to go this through the hero decks order, so if you want to follow along with the hero decks, it should be easy enough. So first we have Andromeda, who fulfills more of a support role on your team. She can carry as well, and I have seen that, but I would generally say try use her as a bit of a support. Her skills push her that way. So her first skill is what we call a point stun, which essentially means you click or point on someone and they are click on them and they are stunned no matter what. So this is a great ability for initiating, escaping. The stun length is not too bad, 1.75 seconds, and that's the same at all levels. It's just the damage that increases with levels, up to 325, which is good damage, nothing to be scoffed at by level 4. So let's see how that works. We're just going to Q, and we're going to click on this poor undead warrior. And there he is, stunned and take damage. Let's run away, Andromeda. So it's good in lane to initiate, to help get away. It's just a good general all-round stun. It doesn't have the greatest range. It's still not too bad at 500, but you'll find stuns out there that can stun it longer. Now her next skill is her Aurora, which I consider a bit of a scouting tool and a pre-fight use tool. It lowers the armor and base damage of any enemies it touches and deals a small amount of damage, but the damage really isn't that important. It's more the lowering of base damage and lowering armor. And as you can see, it also grants you clear vision, which means, say we're in the center of the map and we're on this side of this river near the tower and we can't see this side, we can always use our Aurora, which is quite low mana cost, to have a quick look, and you can just see how this works by looking over this hill into that camp. There we go. You can see those guys. They've got negative base damage, negative armor. You can tell they have the aura on them from the little pink hues above their head. Or more purple. My apologies. Probably the same color that Andromeda is, actually. So that is her second ability. Now her third ability is a passive, and it's just a quick note that passives like this can be turned on and off, and you can just click E or click on the picture of the ability. Now when I say turn on and off, it just means turn on and off from being on all heroes or just all allied units or just allied heroes, which means that the ability is a plus base damage for every hero or unit, and you can just turn that off so it's just on heroes, and that way in the laning phase, if you have leveled this ability, it doesn't mean that you'll be pushing up the lane because your creeps are now stronger with more base damage. So it's best earlier in the game to turn this ability just onto your heroes, and you can see who it's on just by the cool little symbol floating above their head. So if you can walk away from the heroes, those symbols will go away, and there they go, no more base damage. You can also tell if you've got the base damage just by above your picture of your hero. You'll have the little dimensional link, and you can see with the plus 20% base damage, Hound's dealing 79 to 83 damage. If Andromeda walks away, that goes down to 65 to 69 damage. Now her ultimate ability is probably the ability Andromeda is most famous for, which is called her Void Rip, which essentially means she can switch place with any target hero, ally, or enemy. Now this can be used aggressively to switch enemies into your team, or as defensively to save one of your teammates who's stuck in some kind of sticky situation. And as a support, you'd rather keep your carry alive than you, and hopefully you can even get out maybe by voiding in and then stunning some people and running. So let's switch places with this dragon. So I'm just clicking R and clicking on the dragon. There we go. Switch places. Dragon's not too happy because he's out of line. Now, yeah, like I said, it can be used as initiation. Defensively, it's a great all-round tool. So that is Andromeda. Next we have Artillery. Now Artillery is a ranged carry hero. I wouldn't say he's considered one of the strongest carries in the game at the moment, but he does have his merits. So let's run through his skills. First, we'll just have a quick look at his passive ability, which is his second ability, his W. Now, this being a passive ability, it's not really an aura. You can't turn it on or off, but I don't see any reason why I'd ever want it off. Now, it passively adds a stacking slow, and you can stack more and more slow with the more levels you have into it. So let's slow this undead warrior. So as you can see, he's actually holding up his teammates right now because he's incredibly slow. And if we shoot him, he's struggling to get back at the same speed as his teammates. Now, this ability works with artillery's other ability, which is his LRM, which is firing missiles in a line, dealing damage. So this is a very long ability. You can fire it in quite a long line, and you can see by the range indicator how far away I can actually shoot people with this ability. And they also receive the stacked slow. So let's fire on this creep. One thing to note, if you kill creep from too far away, you won't get experience, but in this case they were inside experience range, but that's something to note. Now his third ability is Bunker Down, and this is great during the laning phase of the game, or at any time really. It essentially means you put down a circle. If you are inside that circle, you get extra range and extra base damage. So with the circle, I can hit people from that distance. Now I'm going to stop. The circle's gone. Let's see when this guy walks back. I'll get him walk back. There we go. If I can hit him from here, not a chance. I have to walk way in to actually deal damage to him. And the great part is this can be used while channeling, which means that if I'm firing my LRM, yes, LRM, I can just hit my E and the circle will go down now, giving me extra base damage, which means more damage on my LRM. And it is cheap to use, so you should always be throwing it down when you're LRMing, or pretty much at any point in the game. Now I'm just going to spawn some new creep here, just because this poor soldier is a little bit low on health. Come on, Mr. Skeleton King. There we go, more Skeleton Kings. And we'll have a look at his ultimate ability, which is Artillery Barrage, which essentially is a little controversy or a little bit of discussion when to use this ability, because you can use it to initiate, you can use it to escape. It's got all kinds of cool ways of using it, just like Andromeda. So this ability, you target an area, and you can see the green area right here, where everyone in that area is dealt magic damage and they are stunned for 2 seconds. Now, this also fires you backwards 500 units. So this can be an advantage when trying to escape, because it gives you a bit of a gap to get away, and they're also stunned. So it's good for running away, but it's also good for initiating as well. And you can see here how you can use this to initiate, because all your skills kind of synergize quite well with your ultimate. And that's because what we can do is quickly fire this barrage, then we can quickly use our LRM and bunker down straight afterwards. So we're doing heaps of damage with our LRM, and they're stunned for 2 seconds, so they can't really move out the way. So let's see if we can take down these skeletons by doing that. Here we go. And as you can see, all the little skeletons died, and it was just the big guy who survived, but he still took a good 600 damage, which is nothing to be scoffed at with no items at level 8. So that's artillery. Next we have Blitz. Now Blitz was seen as a bit of a dumpster hero when he came out. He wasn't that great, but he's had a bit of a buff, and I tend to disagree. I think he's a pretty cool hero, and he serves a role as a bit of a ganker who can roam around. He's not too bad as a support, but I really wouldn't consider him as a carry. He's a ranged hero, and all his abilities, being named Blitz, are all based around speed, either lowering the enemies or buffing your allies. So let's look at his skills and see how they all synergize together. So first we have Blitzkrieg, which deals damage to the enemy based on the difference in your movement speed. So the faster you are, and the slower they are, the more damage you do. It also does a 1.5 second stun, which is quite nice as a point stun. Then his second ability is Pilfering, which deals damage to an enemy and slows them down. It also grants vision, which is great if they're trying to run away into fog. So I'm just going to quickly, I might show you all three of these abilities at once before the ultimate. His third ability is Quicken, which you can target an ally, and a quick note on that, if you just double tap E, you will target yourself. So if you target an ally and buff their movement speed for 100, So you can see now Blitz is much faster, and the higher level, the longer you can run fast for. So as you can see, we have abilities that lower movement speed, buff your movement speed, and then deal damage on movement speed difference. So let's see if we can use all three of those skills to damage this skeleton warrior. Now he only has 316 health left, so let's see with these three abilities that don't really cost that much mana, 200 all up, if we can kill him. Here we go. There we go. Which means Blitz has a fair amount of burst damage. She can come into the lane and just sneak in with a quick and activated to run super fast, slow, and then stun the enemy. Now, the great part is her abilities have low cooldown, so she's able to probably cast those multiple times to run away in fights or sneak in quite quickly. Now her ultimate adds to the fact that it is deals magic damage to enemies in a small area and lowers all their movement speeds. So you can see here if I use this ultimate, it's not boss. Look, they cop a lot of damage and they're extremely slowed. And now this synergizes even better with all the rest of your skills because now you're slowing people even more. So it's quite a handy ultimate ability. So people would say Blitz is a little underpowered. Personally, I just think people haven't figured out how we should be playing Blitz. She's quite good in lane with another point stunner and can deal a fair amount of damage. So just by using those abilities all together, we've taken off 600-ish health from that Vagabond, which is very good level 7 with no items whatsoever. So she's very good at quickly running into lane and helping finish people off. Now Emerald Warden, who's next on our list, is probably one of my favorite heroes, and I've leveled him just to level 16 just so we can see how his ultimate works. Now he's quite a simple hero to use, but a little bit of an advanced hero to master. So I'm just gonna bring in a few enemies just so I can show you the abilities that she has, because one does require a couple of enemies. So I've got a couple of arachnids just chilling in base, and then while they're running down, we'll just talk about the other abilities that she has. Now, first off is her a silencing shot, which essentially deals magic damage to an enemy based on your attack damage and a little bit extra, but silences them for a period of time. And at max level, that's it's 5 second silence, which in Heroes of Newerth, 5 seconds is quite a long time. I hope these boys don't get attacked by the tower here. They will. Just run them around. Good on you. There you go. Sit there. So 5 seconds, and we'll just throw it on the leader. You can see his silence is such a long time in Heroes of Newerth in a team fight. 5 seconds is literally the length of an entire team fight. So it is quite a long period of time. Now, we'll just go through the third ability before we get to the others, which is called Overgrowth, which essentially places down this nifty little trap here that anyone who walks over is stuck there for 4 seconds and deals magic damage over time. So let's stick these guys in here. Now this is great for farming the jungle, because as you can see, we can just hold these creep in place and just wail upon them. And it has such a low cooldown, we can cast it again and again. It also grants vision, so you can place it over things like ward spots, just to see where people are. Now, his second ability is quite handy for chasing enemies. It's not too bad for initiating too with the slow, because the great part is it doesn't matter if you can see or can't see the enemy hero. Now, we know that there is 2 enemies up here, because I've placed them there, but in game you might not know at all, and if someone's run away into the fog, it's very hard to find which direction they're heading. But with Hunter's Command, we summon 2 wolves that will chase out and find enemies and deal damage to them. So as you can see, those wolves just ran out and attacked those 2 arachnids. I'll turn the fog off so we can see it again with no fog. And 2 wolves running out, and those 2 heroes are quite slowed, as you can see, and it wears off and moving back at normal speed. You can also see the amount of damage it does is nothing to scoff at. Of course, these arachnids are only level 1, so they are going to cop a lot of damage. So let's show you the ultimate ability of Emerald Warden. Now, this is the bird that's floating around Emerald Warden's head. If you first spawn this hero at level 1, you'll note you don't have this bird. You will gain this bird at level 6, and at level 6, you'll be at the bird will automatically attack nearby enemies. I believe it's every 6.5 seconds at level 6. For 200 physical damage. Now at level 6, this is brilliant for getting early lane control in the game, because it's essentially free attack, and cause it's not an auto attack, it doesn't aggro the creeps, so they won't try attack you for it. So you can essentially be hanging out near the creep wave and your bird will attack the enemy. So at the moment, because I'm level 16, it's 300 damage, and you can see how much damage that deals to this poor level 1 Arachna. Now, when you level the bird the second time, every time you drop below 40% health, the bird will heal you for 200 HP, and it has a 34-second cooldown. So you've got next 34 seconds, you're below 400 HP, the bird will heal you 200 health again. It also grants you movement speed and attack speed. So if you're getting chased and you're dropping low, the bird will heal you, and you can actually move faster to get away, which is also handy. Now, when it gets to level 16, the bird gains another skill. Now, we don't want these arachnids to die, so I'm just leveling them up slightly. And that is the Emerald Storm, which puts a storm over the head of 2 or more enemies and deals magic damage and slows them for 30%. So let's see if we can get the storm to come up. There it is. Emerald Storm, and it's dealing damage. As you can see, the damage it deals. It slows the enemies, and it's just a great general ability for team fights. So the great part about Emerald Warden is her 2 abilities are quite, her 2 standard abilities for attacking are quite simple to use. Her overgrowth is quite simple, and her ultimate just works itself, so you don't need to stress about it. So quite an easy hero to get into. It's quite hard to farm with Emerald Warden because she doesn't really have those scaling farm abilities that some other agility heroes have. But she's just good to get, she or he, depends on the skin. It's just good to get used to the agility hero role with. So next we have Engineer, who is one of my favorite heroes in the game. And he's more of a support roaming hero who has great teamfight potential. The first thing I'll probably say is, if you're looking in the guides and you see Spider-Mine guides, probably avoid those guides, because I don't think they're really using Engineer to his full potential, but feel free to comment on that below, because I know some people love the mines. Personally, I'd much rather have his stun and his turret, which you'll see here in a minute. So Engineer's first ability is his keg stun. Now this is targeting an area, and you throw a keg which stuns enemies and pushes them around. So let's push them backwards, stun them, and deal damage. There we go. So, this ability is really good if you have someone else setting up a point stun for you. That way, it's very hard to miss. You can knock the enemy back towards you. And this synergizes really well with the Steam Turret, which is why it's great to get these abilities early in the game. And that's because we can knock enemies towards us, Steam Turret them, which deals damage and pushes heroes while slowing them. So you can push them towards you, slow them so they can't get away, and then wail on them to finish them off. So let's see how those 2 abilities synergize together. So we're going to knock this skeleton towards us, and then turret him, because he's going to actually try run towards us, turret him away, so it actually gives us time to, we might knock him away and turret him away, so it gives us time to just attack the skeleton. So here we go, we've knocked them away, now we've put up our turret, which is shooting them away, and it's also dealing damage to them, and you can see we're dropping these skeletons quite easily. Now, I'll just plonk down some mines right here so you can see the 3rd skill. Now the 3rd skill is quite simply mines that refresh every 25 seconds. You do get 2 charges, so I already have another one to place, but now I'll have to wait till that 25-second timer from the first mine runs down, which we will get there in 12 seconds. So we'll just wait for that 12 seconds to be up, and as you can see, we can stack up to 9 mines. Essentially, these are invisible, and if people run over them, they get dealt, at this point, level 2, 200 magic damage, which goes up to 300 at the end. So I can see why people love to stack these mines up and deal a fair whack of damage to enemies. We're just going to stack 4 up here, and then aggro this guy and see if we can kill him. Here we go. Last mine. Now, because he's got about 600 health, but he will have some magic damage mitigation. So, just see if we can kill him. He's coming. Now, hopefully he runs all the way over the mines. Boom. Poor fella. So, these can be quite useful for if you're running away too. You're just getting chased. Just drop mines behind you as you're running, because the time, there's no real stop cast animation. So you can see I'm running and I just drop the mine. So they're quite handy for running away, and they're also quite handy for stacking up at spots around the map strategically to take out heroes. Now this also synergizes quite well with Engineer's ultimate ability, which is a great teamfight ability. This creates a energy field which you can drop down, which deals damage over time and silences enemies that walk through it. And you can see these guys taking damage. It also slows enemies who try to walk away through the turret. Now the great thing is you can use this ability with your other abilities to force people in and out of the field and keep them kind of stuck in the energy field and forcing them in and away from mines. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop down the energy field, and we're going to keg stun these guys through the field. Whoop. You can see that they're slow, they're taking damage over time. If we had more mana, which we generally will, we're probably even able to drop mines, drop down more turrets, throw kegs. So it synergizes all well with each other. One thing to note is the keg pushes you around if you do cast it on top of yourself. Doesn't deal any damage, but you can just push yourself away. So if someone's on top of you, wailing away on you, you can stun them, push you that way, and push them the other way, which is quite handy. So that's Engineer's 4 skills. Good fun hero to play. If you're laning with a point stunner, it's quite easy to get kills. Next we have Draconis, the dragon. Now Draconis at the moment is considered one of the top tier carry heroes in the game, and this is because he has a great ability to farm, and he has great team fight potential as well. So let's just get some creep up so we can show you his abilities. Now all his abilities are all about fire, and they're all about dealing damage over time. Now his first ability is Dragon Flame, and I'm going to use these abilities all together just so you can see how they all work as a great farming tool. So Dragon Flame pushes enemies back, slowing them and dealing magic damage. So that's the first ability, and it's fired in a cone, so you can see it's quite a large range in front of the dragon. His second ability is Blazing Flight. We might just use this here. And you can see he gets increased movement speed and sets the ground on fire. Now, the higher the level, the more damage it does. The path, and it stays on fire for 3 seconds. Now his third ability is a passive that on every 5th attack he burns the ground where he hits, which deals magic damage over time. It also slows enemies as well. So we can use these abilities to quite easily farm. So what we can do is set the ground on fire, attack the enemies, and then push them away and set them on fire again, so that they're constantly taking magic damage and finding it very hard to actually attack Draconis. So let's see how that works. So we set the ground on fire, we're going to push them away, and if they walk through it, see these guys are still copping damage from being in front, and they're already dead. And we're about to get back up to our 5th shot, the ground's on fire, and we can probably cone him. And we can probably walk away now, and he'll just cop magic damage over time. So he finds it very easy to farm Dragon, and if we have stacked up Ancients, which we'll talk about stacking in another video, he can kill all 3 sets of these Ancients quite quickly at about level 11. Now his ultimate ability is called Cataclysmic Assault, which essentially splits his attacks up. He gains 50 attack speed, and his attacks split, dealing extra damage. So I can show you that here. Now, with the problem we have right now, there we go, close enough. You can see that they're splitting between the enemy hero. Now it only lasts for 6 seconds, but later in the game, 6 seconds is a long time. Let's set this ground on fire around these guys, burn them a bit, and let's see how easy we can make them drop. See how much damage they're taking over time. Ground on fire, he'll die. So he's quite a nifty hero. Late game, when he's dealing lots of damage and he's splitting that fire between enemy heroes, he can deal a lot of damage. His blazing flight is a great escape tool because people don't want to be running after you taking damage. So next we have Hound. Now Hound at the moment is sitting here invisible, and we can tell that because he's slightly see-through, and he can just walk, you know, wherever he wants without people noticing him. And we can show you that just by these creep. Now these creep are actually asleep, so we're going to have to wake them up, which will let them notice us. But in 3 seconds, oh, what do you know? There we go. Now they're awake. In 3 seconds, they will forget Hound is right here as he fades to invisible. And there he is. They forget he's completely there. So that is his ultimate ability. So from level 6 onwards, Hound is invisible. And as you level it up, the fade time to invisibility goes down. So at the moment, it's 3 seconds, then 2.25, then 1.5. Now, Hound is all about sneak attacking and really holding people in place too. And that holding people in place is probably his very important, and his first ability, Smoke Bomb, is probably his greatest ability. Now, Smoke Bomb, I see so many Hounds not leveling this, and please, please, please get some levels into Smoke Bomb because it is your greatest ability. It creates a smoke cloud at a location and silences enemies in it, which means that they can't cast anything. They are slowed. They have a 50% chance of missing, and their attack speed is slowed. So just to show you how that works, we can cast the cloud on top of these enemies, start attacking them, and let's see if we can get some misses. There we got a miss. Miss there, miss again there, as these people are missing Hound. So it is quite a good ability. You can cast it on people running away. You can cast it while you're initiating fights. You can cast it while you're pouncing in on someone, which we will check out here. His second ability, Pounce, which essentially leaps behind an enemy, dealing an attack with bonus physical damage. Now, the behind an enemy is all important because Hound's third ability gives you extra damage based on your agility stat if you're attacking someone behind them. So right now, this guy is facing away from us. If we can sneak up behind him, just by hitting him, we're going to deal... It was about 85 damage. Now, if we walk around the front of that hero, if we can get around the front, this is probably front, we only deal about 60 damage, 65 damage, I think it was. So you can see there's an increased damage, and that only goes up because late in the game, your agility stat is going to be way over 100, and you're going to get 100% of agility in your attack, so it's an extra 100 damage. And with your Pounce dealing your attack damage plus 120 physical damage, you could be pouncing behind people for somewhere around 400 damage. So let's have a look at that Pounce. So as you can see, we just pounce the enemy and deal damage. One thing to note with the Pounce is you can also use this as an escape mechanism because you can cast it on allied units. So say you're getting chased and you need to get away fast, you can pounce to your dragon buddy up here and you're out of the fight. So thank you very much, Draconis. So that's Hound, and he is very much a carry. He scales well with items. You just need to be careful of enemies picking up things that allow them to see invisible units because he is quite squishy if you can see him. Next, we have Swiftblade, which we'll just do a few levels to, who is a good carry in the sense that he's quite useful early in the game, and late in the game with good items he scales well, not quite as well as like the Draconis and a few others, but he's quite a handy carry. I also recommend him as a bit of a beginner carry because he only has 2 skills you need to be able to use: his ultimate and his spin, which is Blade Frenzy. Now, Blade Frenzy, essentially, you can spin around dealing magic damage to anyone near you for 5 seconds, and you can move while spinning, so you can just move around, and you can see the cone, obviously, that you're dealing magic damage in. Now, early in the game, the amount of magic damage is really quite high, and you'll find a lot of the times if you're laning with a handy stunner, maybe an Andromeda, you'll find you'll very easily be able to get kills at the start of the game. And we'll just see how much damage we can due to these creep just sitting here just with our Blade Frenzy. 2, 1, blading away. So we've pretty much killed one creep, and with one hit killed another creep. So it is quite powerful, and we're dealing a good 500 damage on top of the big fella up there. Now his other two abilities, are passive abilities, and you don't really need to worry about these. And you'll actually find that a lot of Swiftblades choose not to level these at the beginning of the game, going Blade Frenzy, stat, Blade Frenzy, stat, Blade Frenzy, so that your he's got a little bit more survivability, and he can just use his Blade Frenzy to kill. So his second ability is Counterattack, which gives you a 20% chance of dealing your attack damage to an enemy hero. That goes up to 30% by level 4. Now his third skill, his passive, is Way of the Sword, which grants you a 20% chance, going up to 36% chance of dealing double damage to them. Now his ultimate is essentially his killing tool. Put together with Blade Frenzy, he can kill most units quite easily. And as you can see, this guy's back to 1,000 health. And now his Swift Slashes jump around between any nearby enemy units, dealing 200 damage on each jump. And it targets 3 units, 3 slashes at level 6, which goes up during each level, up to 8 slashes by the end. So let's just see, just by using the Blade Frenzy and the ultimate, if we can drop this guy here with almost 1,100 health. So we're Blade Frenzying, now we're ultimating, and you can see he dropped very fast. So level 6, it's quite easy for Swiftblade to be roaming around getting kills, but generally you want to stay in lane and farm as much as you can. So that is our Swiftblade. Next we have another one of what we call the top tier carries at the moment, even though he did take a nerf a couple days ago, so we'll have to see how that works, which is Magebane. Now there's a couple reasons why Magebane is considered quite powerful. One is that he has a great escape mechanism, which is his second skill. Let's level him up a little bit here. Called Flash, which essentially allows him to port. So here we go, we're just going to port over here. And when we flash to a location, we also gain magic armor, and the magic armor is gained to everyone nearby you. So I'll just oh no, he's going to come up in 1 second. I'm going to flash in here to our friendly units, and you can see they've got this swirling magic armor around them, which is great. That Magebane can jump into a team fight, armor everyone up, and you can start wailing away on enemies. Now, his other two normal abilities are passives, so he doesn't have too much to worry about in the way of skills to use. His first one is Mana Consumption, which drains mana on attack and deals that mana drained as physical damage. And this goes all the way up to level 4, draining 64 mana, and so dealing 60% of that as damage. So you're dealing over an extra 30 damage just in mana drain. Now, this is not an attack modifier, as we call it, which we'll go into another time. So it propagates to his illusions as well. So if you have illusions, which you can pick up in runes or items, they're mana draining as well, and they're dealing that extra damage. So with illusions handy on Magebane, you can pretty much take away someone's entire mana, whole mana pool in a matter of seconds, which allows you to cast his ultimate ability with maximum damage, which is Mana Rift, which targets an enemy unit, applies a mini stun for 0.1 second, and deals 60% of the target's missing mana as magic damage. And this goes up as you get up in levels. Get up to level 16. And by level 16, he deals, I believe it's 110% of missing mana. So let's have a look at this Catman champ. Now he only has 300 mana, so really we could only deal a maximum of 300 damage to him, or 330 damage to him as magic damage. But someone like Magebane himself, if we cast this on Magebane and we drained all their mana through attacks, you could deal over 550 damage just by using his ultimate ability. And intelligence heroes who have over 1,000 mana, you can be dealing ridiculous amounts of damage to them. So let's just go in and attack this guy and just show you how we mana drain and deal damage and how the ultimate works. So we're just going wow on this Catman. You can see his mana dropping, the damage he's taking. Now that damage will drop now, and we're going to wait till he gets us below 300 health, and then we're going to use the ultimate to finish the poor guy off. So that's essentially how Magebane works. He's great because he can farm quite freely, because he can just jump between camps, start attacking away on people, and then just jump to the next camp. So say he'd finish these guys off, which you will find a lot easier when you've got a few items. Then you can just jump over to the next camp and farm away on them. So he finds farming quite easy, and he's not in as much, you know, he can easily escape from attacking enemies, because if someone is coming to gank him in the lane, you can just flash away. So get away quite easily. So, and his movement speed is also quite high. So he's quite a handy hero. So that's Magebane. Next on our list is Moon Queen. Moon Queen has an ultimate similar to Swiftblade, that's all about killing a unit quite quickly and easily. It actually deals more damage than Swiftblades. Now she's a little squishy early on, and she doesn't really have that good a range for a ranged hero. But late in the game, she scales incredibly well and can deal great amounts of damage. So first off, she has the Moonbeam, which just deals magic damage to a unit and a small 1 second stun. So it's just quite a simple ability, nothing too complicated there. Her second ability, you might have just spotted there, is called Multi-Strike, which means her attacks bounce between enemies. You can see that, you can probably see her glaive, if we can get them splitting up a little bit, bouncing from one to the other. There'll be 3 guys here, so let's see. Yep, there we go. You can see it bouncing between the enemy heroes. Now, as it bounces, it deals less damage, 30% less damage each bounce. So her third ability, Lunar Glow, is very, very similar to Andromeda's ability. It grants bonus base damage, but only to range units. So if we come up here, the dragon has got the Lunar Glow, extra 14% base damage, but Hound doesn't have that bonus right there. And this again can be switched off to just ranged heroes or all ranged units by just tapping E. Now her ultimate ability is all about killing single or multi-target units once you're at a higher level. And let's see how deadly this is just by leveling it up to level 16 with these guys at full health. It essentially fires a whole bunch of moonbeams, and I think we go up to 10 moonbeams, dealing 300 magic damage per hit. So these moonbeams can only be target units that you can see and are within range. So let's see how this goes. And it is random, by the way, so you can't pick who this moonbeam hits. So here we go. You can see that it quite easily drop those creeps. Not really a hassle at all. We could probably even walk up to the ancients and not even have a problem with them as well. Up we go, Moon Queen. With no items whatsoever, no nothing, just as simple as firing out the moonbeams. See, we dropped 2 of the ancients and the big main guy already down to half health. Just by stopping him attacking and the Lunar Glow leveled up, we can easily finish him off. No items at all. Moon Queen does a fair amount of damage thanks to that Lunar Glow. So her ultimate ability is very powerful, although it does have a 2-minute cooldown. So I try to use it when only 1 or 2 enemy heroes are around. If there's a lot there, those beams are shared between a lot of people, and it just doesn't do quite as much damage. So next on our list of heroes, we have Master of Arms. Now, Master of Arms is quite a fun hero, and is a bit of a utility hero in that he can fill pretty much any role. First thing you'll notice that even though I hadn't leveled anything yet, he already had 1 level in Pulse Cannon. And this is because Master of Arms is one of the few heroes who has more than 4 abilities. He actually has, if you count the cannons themselves, 2 for each, so 8 abilities. So let's just put 2 levels in each thing, which will actually take the cannon up to 3, and 1 in the ultimate. So he has his Pulse Cannon out right now, and you can tell that by the fact that it's blue and all his skills are blue. But if we hit E, he switches over to his Repeater. Now we've gone red, and his skills are completely different. And this skill set is completely a different use in team fights and team battles. So we're going to start with the Pulse Cannon. Now the Pulse Cannon, when you have it out, you get extra base damage and extra attack range. So that is the use of the Pulse Cannon straight up. Where the Repeater only has a round of 12 bullets, so you have 12 bullets and then you have to reload, which takes 4 seconds. but you do less attack damage, but you get way higher attack speed. Now, alright, we'll start with the abilities on the pulse cannon side. First we have Charge Shot, which is essentially a point stun with magic damage. Just as such. And then we have Forked Lightning, which deals magic damage, but applies a slow, and this is can be applied to all units in that target line. So we can apply this to all 3 units if we fire it right. There we go. Now the lightning does fork out, and that forks can also hit people because it splits out into 3 different directions. Now his ultimate ability is called Master's Call, which you target an allied unit, give them movement speed, cast speed, and attack speed for 5 seconds. So you can see he can cast this on himself by the double tapping R, and we can see how much faster we can cast our skills and attack. So here we go. Lightning, stun that guy, attack away, put down these units. As you can see, it's worn off and now attacking much slower. So let's just go across to the repeater side of things. Now on the repeater, our first ability is Blast Shot, which deals magic damage and blasts the target unit away. And I always find this a bit fun, because look where this Skeleton King is going to go. Oh, right out of his camp. Poor fella. And now he has to walk all the way back around. So it's a great unit for pushing people away. It is actually very handy for pushing people away. Now his second skill is called Acid Bomb, and I equate it kind of like the Aurora in the sense that it fires out in a very long line, even though it's like a target area. Because when he throws the bomb into this area, it continues along the ground, like, you know, physics would allow it. So we can fire it right here, and the acid continues along the ground. And as you can see, anyone who walks over the acid takes magic damage, and their armor is lowered. So it's great for anti-pushing. People are trying to push down a tower, throw down the acid to stop them. It's also great just before we're starting to fight to get acid on the ground, just to scare the enemies just a bit. I can just show you firing his repeater, so you see that he fires much faster than when we had the other one. And he will run out of ammo, and now he has to reload. So 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, now I can fire again. Go away, you guys. Take the acid. You can go for a jump. So now his ultimate ability when in repeater form essentially gives a target ally a shield that absorbs post-mitigation damage, up to 450 post-mitigation damage by level 16. Now, this can be cast the same with his other ultimate ability anywhere on the map. So this hero that I have, this Arachna up here, if he wants a shield and he desperately needs a shield, I can shield him right now. And there you go, he's copped the shield. Now the shield being post-mitigation damage is very cool, because if you have a lot of physical and magical armor, say someone hits you for something that does 600 damage, you can possibly mitigate that down to 300 damage, and then the shield blocks all 300. Whereas if the shield was pre-mitigation and you that 600 damage that came through, the shield would completely be absorbed by it. So that post-mitigation is very, very useful. Let's throw down the cocktail. Let's blast this dude away. He's coming for me, and finish people off. You can even switch across to our other gun, fork lightning them, stun this guy. So you can see there's a lot of utility. When his mana pool is a bit higher than it is now, you can cast a lot of different spells during the team fight, and he's just an all-round very useful hero, because he can carry, he can be a support, he's a good, utility to do anything. He's not that commonly seen, I would say, in the low-end public scene, and I'd love to see a few more MOA players out there. So if he interests you, I mean, lots of spells, definitely get on MOA and give him a crack. Next we have Monkey King. Now Monkey King, when he first came out, was an extremely overpowered hero, who's now being nerfed down to probably where he needs to be, who's all about burst damage and extreme synergy between his skills. So he's all about being extremely mobile and having extreme synergy. Now, I'll show you his skills separate, just standing over here, and then we're going to go use them all as one on these 3 enemies over here. So first off, we have his elusive dash, which if we just tap Q, he will dash forwards, dealing damage in front of him. Now, if you hit someone, you get an extra dash that you have to use. It will auto use after 2 seconds, or you can activate it again anywhere before those 2 seconds. Next, we have his Heavenly Vault, which allows him to vault over enemies, dealing 150 physical damage and slowing them. But more importantly, you can use this to, one, vault over his slam, which we'll get to at another point, or vault over buildings or allied heroes. So as you can see, we can vault over the top of the tower, allowing us to jump in and deal damage, and then jump back out. Because as you can see, if you do vault, you have a couple of seconds, and I believe all up now, because it's just been extended, you get, I think it's 3 seconds to cast another one? Yeah, 3 seconds to cast another vault. So you can vault in, maybe do a dash, maybe do a slam, and then vault back out of danger. So just his third skill is his slam, which he pretty much slams the ground, which gives them magic damage, and then in 2 seconds the rocks explode and deals that magic damage again. So as you can see, all these skills synergize quite well. A quick other note, you can actually vault your slam. There you go. Now I kind of need a bit more of a mana pool, so it just makes it a little bit easy to use all his abilities, because normally you'd have items for this. But let's just level him up. We might just give him an item called the Hellflower, just so he has a bit more mana, and there we go. A bit more mana regen. So as you can see, let's try to use all these abilities as one. Now, there's many different ways to combo. I am no Monkey King master, so I'm just gonna pick on these 2 creep over here. I'm going to dash, slam, vault, vault, dash. That's my plan of attack. I might actually have to dash a bit randomly, but we'll see how we go. So here we go. We're gonna dash, slam, vault well, and we're gonna die a bit too soon. Let's try it over here with some more enemies. Here we go. So we're going to dash, slam, vault, vault, dash. Here we go. Dash, slam, vault, vault, dash. There we go. And as you can see, we pretty much annihilated those enemies. He's quite useful like that, and there's many different combinations. And the great part is he's quite mobile too, because normally you can't climb over this ledge. You'd have to go around, but if I throw down a slam on the, or if I vault over someone near the edge, oh, I miss getting over. Let's see if I can get over. I'll use my slam on the ground to get over. I can jump off cooldowns. There we go. If I put down a slam on the edge, vault over it, I can vault over the edge. So you can see that he has a fair amount of synergy between all his skills. He puts out a lot of burst damage to put units down. Let's try a different thing. Vault, slam the ground, vault him back where we slammed, dash, dash. So it's another combo option that deals quite a lot of damage. So yeah, that's how Monkey King works. There's a ledge right here that normally I wouldn't be able to get over. Slam the ground, vault over the slam. Now there I go, attacking these guys. So he does put out a fair amount of burst. He does take a little while to master because of how he jumps around, and he can be a bit of a pain for an enemy when you're trying to target him because he's vaulting all over the place. So you can see how he can vault all over the place, just jumping everywhere. So he is quite a cool hero. Takes a little while to master, can be a little squishy, and if you can lock him down, it can be quite easy to take down. So try and get stuns off on him and then burst him down before he can be vaulting all over the place. Next we have Nomad. Now Nomad is, I would consider one of the better mid heroes in the game, which means he's not too bad in a solo role, especially for a non-ranged unit. And he also has good ganking potential and carry potential. So we'll just go through his skills quickly. His first skill is Sandstorm, which gives you bonus movement speed and invisibility. It also slows enemies in the Sandstorm. Now this goes to allies too, so all those allies gain the Sandstorm effect that are inside the Sandstorm. Now his second ability splits into two, which is his W and E, which is Mirage Strike, which throws an illusion at the enemy, dealing damage, making you invisible. So I can run away while the illusion's hitting him. And on the other side of things is True Strike, which instead of throwing the illusion, I will run at the enemy and deal even more damage to them. So it's tricky for the enemy to work out if they've got an illusion being thrown at them or it's the real Nomad coming running in. Now his third ability is Wanderer, which you get extra damage due to how far you've traveled. So the further you're walking, the more damage you do. Now this is already for me set up on 100, so I'm just doing the extra critical damage. Now his final ability is Edge Counter, which actually won't work right now because I don't believe it works against creep. We're about to find out. No, I don't think it did, unless the creep will miss me. No, it doesn't work against creep. Don't know why I'm standing here trying, expecting different results. I actually need an enemy hero. So we're going to run one of these Arachnas back down, just so we can see how this works. I'm just going to run this friendly Arachna out. So off you go, Nomad. You can go meet the person up there. So it essentially means that you enter a state of ascension, as it said, and anyone that attacks you cops a massive 2-second stun and a large amount of magic damage. So when this Arachna, he spots me, he's going to start attacking me, and I'm going to go into my ascension. And as you can see, he cops a stun and a large amount of magic damage. I can go invisible, I can attack him with a strike, and even though he is a couple levels above me, I'm going to win this fight. Obviously, Arachna can use his abilities, but still he's quite powerful one-on-one. So that is Nomad. We'll just run him back to base and pull out our next contender, which is Scout. Now Scout, I love Scout, but you're either going to love or hate this guy, and mostly there is a lot of hate. And that is because this hero generally is out for himself. A good Scout player is a great team player, but a bad Scout is very much out for himself and won't work too well in teams. That's because his abilities are all about sneak attacks, much like Hound, but in this case, you deal a ridiculous amount of damage and then can just invis and run away. So his first ability is Vanish. Unlike Hound, this is not forever, as it does drain mana on use. Now, the great part about this ability is when you attack out of the invisibility, you gain bonus attack speed for a certain amount of attacks, and at level 4 it is 4 attacks. It's only 2 at the moment. You can see how fast those 2 attacks were. And this synergizes well with his third ability, which is his passive, which disarms, which means that when off cooldown, you deal a critical 1.6 attack, which goes up to 2 times attack when you first come out of invis, and a 2-second disarm, so they can't attack you for 2 seconds. So you can invis in, attack someone, and kind of get them stuck as they can't attack you back. Now his second ability, Electric Eye, is probably Scout's best ability, and it really saddens me to see Scout players not leveling Electric Eye or not using Electric Eyes. So please learn to use these Electric Eyes, because it is one of the greatest abilities, I think, in the game. And that is because, one, you can place an Electric Eye anywhere on the map, and it grants you vision, and vision of invisible units as well. And the enemy can only see it if they walk pretty much right over the top of it. It lasts forever, so you can just place them down in strategic positions, maybe on this cliff up here, so that the enemy can't see it and see the wards, or place it beside you while you're farming so you can't be ganked, so you can see what's coming. But the great part about these Electric Eyes is their second skill, which is the E. Now, the E ability essentially means you can detonate an Electric Eye and all enemies nearby are silenced. And now this silence goes all the way up at level 4 to 6 seconds. And as we talked about before with Emerald Warden, a 5-second silence is great. 6 in an area, which means you can affect many heroes, is amazing. So you can, in a team fight, quickly sneak in, throw the eye down, blow it up, everyone is silenced, and you can do that while still invis, jump out of invis, and start attacking enemies. Now his ultimate ability is just a single fire damage shot, which is great because it's got a fair distance, as you can see as I scroll over. The range is all the way into the camp from here, and deals 250 damage plus percentage of the enemy's maximum health. It also slows them for 4 seconds. So let's fire that at that poor Catman champion. I don't know how much health he has. And he just survived, but we can invis. No one can see us. We can sneak in. We can kill him. And we can run away. So that's what Scout's all about. Now, Scout, when he has massive damage items, can be a real threat. The problem is he is quite squishy. So you do need to make sure that you are looking after Scout. And you need to position yourself well in fights. It's also not a bad idea to pick up what we call a BKB or a shrunken head, which makes you immune to magic damage, because once you pop out in fights, people will target you. Now next we have Silhouette, and like Draconis and Magebane is considered one of the best hard carries in the game, in the current metagame that is anyway. Let's just level up to level 7 and we will see why. Now essentially it is because Silhouette has everything you could possibly need in a hero. She has stuns, she has escape mechanisms, she has tools to help her farm, she has everything that you could want. So let me explain how that all works. Now her first ability is her Death Lotus, and you can see these 4 spinning blades. At level 1 it's 1, then 2, 3, then 4 blades spinning around her. And anyone who walks through these blades takes 60 magic damage. And you can also shoot them out, dealing 280 magic damage to anyone that they hit. Now, this is a great farming ability because you don't even need to be attacking these creep, and they're all going to just be copying the damage from the spinning blades. So you can see them slowly dying just from the blades, not even any damage. They're probably going to kill me before my blades would kill them if I was just standing here, but still, I'm not actually doing anything and their health is dropping. So let me just run her away, get her back up to full health. Now her second ability is her first escape and her stun all put in one. It is called Tree Grapple. Now I have the trees turned off, so I'm probably going to have to put some trees back up for this to work. So, here we go. We can fire out her W in a direction, and you can see how far it reaches, and hit a tree. Now, we've got 4 seconds, and we get extra, why we have this out there, we have extra movement speed. And it also activates one of her other abilities that we'll get to. And we also gain 2 extra abilities once we've fired the Tree Grapple, which is Skydance and a Log Bolus, which do 2 things, which I will show you right now. One allows you to pull the tree down towards you, and the other allows you to jump towards the tree. So let me just go through those 2. Just realized I was a bit away from the mic, so I might come a little bit closer just so you can hear me a bit better. Now, let's do the jump towards the tree first. Now, as we jump towards the tree, anyone in that path we traveled is stunned. And we can do the exact same the other way. Grab the tree, pull it to us. Anyone in that path is stunned. So there's our stun ability. And first escape mechanism too, because if someone's chasing us, say they're chasing us down this path, we can throw out our Tree Grapple and pull towards it, and we're going to get away. Now her third ability is what makes her so deadly during the start of the game, as well as middle of the game and the end of the game. At all times, Silhouette is extremely effective, and that is Relentless Salvo. And this causes your attacks to stack physical damage each time you hit. So each time you deal an extra 12 damage that you hit an enemy, and you can see the salvo on someone as this little ring around them, spiky ring. So each time you hit them, they're going to cop bonus damage. The poor guy just died quite easily. And we can kill these other 2 off quite simply just by shooting out Death Lotus. Now, the other thing to note with this ability, it also adds that each time you activate Silhouette's skill, you gain 400 attack speed for 2 seconds. Or 2 attacks afterwards. I believe it's 2 attacks? Yes, for 2 attacks or 4 seconds. So this means that we can deal insane amounts of burst damage with Silhouette. And let me just show you what I mean. By casting her abilities in succession while that's off cooldown, we get the extra attack damage and the salvo stacking up on enemies. So here we go. We're going to attack this guy. We're going to throw out our thing so we get the extra attacks, waiting for it to come off cooldown, pulling ourselves away. Then we get extra attacks. Then I can fire out my Lotus. We get extra attacks. And as you can see, we can quite easily farm up these ancients. Which is Silhouette's great ability, because she can farm quite quickly and she can kill heroes by throwing all those abilities out quite quickly. Now her ultimate ability is another great farming and escape mechanism. And what we will see, I'm just going to walk Silhouette in here and I'm going to activate her ability and I get an illusion. So I'm just going to hold me here. I'm going to run this illusion all the way back to base while I just stand here and chill. Slowly kill this guy just from the blades, but he's having a wallop on me. Now the great part is I can switch places with that illusion at any time. So say I'm in a lot of trouble and I feel like I'm getting very close to dying, I can switch places with that illusion. Now I have the illusion out here, which takes extra damage and deals a little bit less than Silhouette, and I'm back at base, nice and safe. And I can switch back too, as long as the illusion is still alive and I still have time left on the ability and cooldown, I can actually switch back. So Silhouette, quite a cool hero, a quick farmer, and a great carry into late game. So let's run her back into base. She's a little bit more advanced hero to play because it does take a little bit more of an understanding of your skills and when to use them. So if you do want to pick her up, I suggest trying a bit of an easier carry first before moving on to Silhouette. Next we have Valkyrie. Now Valkyrie is a great utility hero. She can carry, she can support, she can gank and roam. She can kind of do everything, and that's because she has a skill for every occasion. So we're going to start off with her third skill, which is her E, which is Courageous Leap. And essentially I can leap whichever way I'm pointing, up hills, down hills, and it also disjoints ability. So if someone's trying to shoot me with Scout Shot, you can leap and it disjoints it so it misses. And when I land, I get bonus movement speed and attack speed. And that also propagates to anyone nearby where I land. So let's jump up to my friends. You can see they've all got the little wings that say they've got the bonus movement speed and the attack speed, which lasts for exactly, I'm not too sure, but I think it's about 10 seconds. What I can do is I can just refresh the skill, jump back up there. 10 seconds it is. So there you go. Now her W ability is called her Javelin of Light and is one of the most rewarding skill shots in the game. So it is essentially a javelin that you fire in a very long arc, very slowly, but if it hits someone, it can have up to a 5-second stun depending on the distance it's traveled. Let's see if I can sneakily just hit the big guy at the back. So there it goes. I hit the little assassin in front. So which is 4-second stun at this level 2 from this distance. But if I refresh, gave myself some levels from this distance, this is probably going to be, can I just get that guy at the back? Sneak. No, a 5-second stun. But you can also see it does a large amount of damage and killed off the poor little vagabond. Now, her first ability is Call of the Valkyrie, which deals magic damage in an area around her, and one target nearby gets hit twice, which is see that second one come down there and deal extra damage. So it's just a good area of effect damage, and synergizes well with the arrow, because you can say fire your arrow. You can fire your arrow. You can wait and see if you hit. If you hit, you can leap in and then cast your Call of Valkyrie and finish them off. So very cool skill. Now her ultimate ability, I'm going to walk back to base to show you, do that a little bit faster by leaping, makes every hero on your team have stealth, which means making them invisible. So this is great for escaping if your team is in trouble, but it's also great for initiating fights by sneaking up on people. So let's call it here, and let's make everyone on the team go in stealth mode. And there we go. Every hero on the team is now invisible. So it lasts for 9 seconds, but that goes up to 11 seconds by level 16. So Valkyrie's a great utility hero because she has the stun, she has a damage nuke, she has a good escape and a good way of getting around the map, and a great ultimate that is very useful for the team. Now second last we have Wild Soul. Let's put some skills into Wild Soul. Now Wild Soul's a little bit more of an advanced hero, so I probably don't recommend him as a beginner because he does take a little bit of micro, and his play style is a little bit different than a lot because he is the first hero that we've looked at so far, yes, that is a jungler, which means that he can start the game not in the lane, but starting the game killing these creeps. And that's not because he can tank these creeps at level 1, it's because he has a friend. And let's bring out his friend, which is Boo Boo the bear. Good old Boo Boo. Now, a quick note I'm going to make here is you can hotkey your bear and hotkey your hero to whatever you want. As you can see, I'm just hitting my hotkeys here. And to do that, I've selected my bear, and then I hit Control, say Control 5. And now my bear, I can select with 5. Select my hero, Control 6, and I can select my hero. Now, if I have both heroes selected, I can just hit Tab to move between their skills. Even though I'm still controlling both of them, I can switch their skills. Now, the thing is, why he's so great is Boo Boo's a very good tank, and he can tank the damage from these creep for you. He has, at level 2, Boo Boo has 1,800 life, so he is very tanky, considering I'm only 700 health. That means he can spend all day roaming through these jungle, tanking the creep, killing them, while you're attacking them and killing them too. So let's see how that exactly works. Boo Boo up front, taking all the damage, and then me and Boo Boo attacking from the back, slowly killing them off. Yes, Boo Boo is taking damage, but we can just give him some health potions and away he goes. Maybe even an iron buckler for a bit of defense against this damage. And he can handily make his way through the jungle. Here we go. Now, one thing to note that I always see people doing, or I sometimes see people doing, is they give Boo Boo stat items, such as totems or anything that increases his stats. Now, Boo Boo does not have stats, so you cannot actually increase his stats at all by giving him things like totems, because they won't increase anything. You can give him stuff that's a general increase, like a health increase, or maybe like a beast heart if you really wanted to. It wouldn't give him the plus strength, but it would give him the regeneration and the extra health. And you can give him things like demonic breastplate, which give him armor, because he has armor, obviously, and attack speed. So that's Boo Boo. Now, all your abilities are designed to allow you to use Boo Boo and yourself very differently in team fights, because Boo Boo, as you level Boo Boo up, he gains other abilities. At the level 2, which he is now, he gains a rot, and then which means that he can every now and then, and I'll get rid of these trees just so it's a little bit easier to see the creep. Every now and then when he attacks, and he can't attack because I'm a little bit too far away from my hero, so let's come over here and attack one of these guys. There we go. But you can see right there, and it was a little bit hard to note, that he entangled there we go, there's an entangle right there, the Minotaur, which means the Minotaur can't move. I do want Boo Boo to die right here, just to show you what happens when Boo Boo dies. You can see that I just take damage, but not to fear, because I can just summon Boo Boo again. Now, it does have a 2-minute cooldown, so I do have to wait 2 minutes before I can summon Boo Boo a second time. But, he is essentially a free bear every 2 minutes. Now, if you die, Boo Boo does die on the other side of things. Now, if you level Boo Boo again, level 3, he does extra damage to towers, and level 4, which is not as great as the other levels, he gets some magic armor. Now, your second ability is Wild, which allows you to both gain attack speed and movement speed. So, there we go, moving a bit faster. Now, his third ability is Nature's Atonement, which grants you extra damage and extra movement speed for Boo Boo, and increases the duration of Wild, which we just cast by up to 40 seconds, and the max health of the bear by 400 as well. Now, your ultimate is Bear Form, and as you can see, we are a ranged hero with 700 health right now. But if I engage my my Bear Form, I turn into a giant bear with 1,100 health, and who's now a melee hero. So the great part about this is, if you want, you can put all your damage items, because Boo Boo can still hold 6 items, on Boo Boo, and you can just run around in bear form with nothing and still have a large amount of health and a large amount of armor. You can also go the other way and build yourself with range carry items, so your Wild Soul is very effective now. And so there's many different ways of building Wild Soul. He's a very fun hero. There's a few advanced techniques with him, but he is good fun, but I probably wouldn't recommend him for beginners. So we're just going to run Boo Boo and run Wild Soul just back here, just so they can show why we do Zephyr. Now, Zephyr is the other hero here that we would call, or could jungle. I would not recommend it. I don't reckon he's a great jungler. I would rather see him in lane, but his abilities allow him to jungle, and we're going to see that right now by his second ability, which is Cyclones, which right now we can't use because we don't have any Cyclones. But when we kill this guy right now, we gain a Cyclone, and you can see it just running around the outside of us. And it actually deals magic damage in an area around us. Now we've killed another person, we've got 2 Cyclones. Let's go over here, kill more, try to get more Cyclones. Now the great part is, if we start running low on health, we can actually consume these Cyclones for health. So as you can see, I'm running a little bit low, and I'm a little bit worried about that, so I'm going to eat a Cyclone, going to eat all my Cyclones, and gain a little bit more health. So that's how the Cyclones work. His third ability is Windshield, which you actually saw propagate and activate itself there, which allows him to, when he gets attacked, the windshield comes up. There's the windshield. It means that he has a chance to evade the attack, and a chance to redirect range attacks. And you also move faster while that is up. Now his first ability, his Q, is his Gust ability, which allows you to summon a Gust, and it's a click and drag like the turret, which blows people around while dealing damage. So I clicked and dragged, and I've blown him forwards and also deal damage. Let's blow these guys away from us. So you can see we're dealing damage. I'm just going to refresh it. Keep blowing him away by refreshing. There you go. Just to see how that works. Now his ultimate ability is called, allows him to summon a Typhoon. So this Typhoon, it slows everyone in it, deals damage over time, and it creates Cyclones for you. So let's summon a Typhoon. And there it is. They're very, very slow. They're copying damage over time, and we've got lots of Cyclones, as you can see, gusting around us. And if we ever get close to thinking that we are going to die right now, let's gust away. We can just consume all those Cyclones. So he's quite tanky for an agility hero, thanks to his shield and the ability to eat his Cyclones. And with the things that deal magic damage in an area, he is quite an effective hero. So there we go, we have the Legion agility heroes. If you have any more questions on any of these heroes, please feel free to ask or comment below. I will probably at some point do video guides on each individual hero to show you a bit more in depth about how they work and how you can use them. But for now, this just gives you an idea of how their abilities work, so when you come up against them, you know what they can do and what you need to look out for, and just a quick rough idea of how everything works, and you can use those heroes. So yeah, thanks very much, and hopefully I'll have the Hellborn agility heroes up very soon. Cheers.